So I think I see the vision now. I've been wondering for the last 60, 70 episodes, why in the hell is Sasuke so effing important when the show's called Naruto? Why not just call it Sasuke? Like there were points in time in the series where it's like everybody's talking about him. Everybody wants him. Nobody's ever been invading the city to get Naruto. It's happened 3 times I think that I can think of for Sasuke. Everybody wants Sasuke. Nobody wants Naruto. So why is the show called Naruto? Didn't make any sense. Now I think it finally does. It's because Sasuke is turning to the dark side. He's going to be the distorted reflection of Naruto. They're not going to be cohorts working together against, to keep the wolves at bay. Sasuke is going to be one of the wolves, right? So that's what's going on. That's why he's been so damn important, but it's also why he's been sidelined for so long as well, right? We're trying to build up Naruto because, like, anytime Sasuke's in a scene, like, everybody's talking about him, everybody's thinking about him, we can't get enough focus on Naruto. So we had to sideline Sasuke for a while. Writing wise, it wasn't making any sense to me. Now it does. That's what the game plan's been. That's what they've been trying to do. It's like, it makes sense now. And so it has me think about, like, dark side stories. Anakin Skywalker being the biggest one, not the only one. And of course, this show is heavily inspired by Star Wars. Not so much the prequels. The manga was written before the prequels came out, but we pretty much knew Anakin's storyline. We knew the broad strokes anyway. And so this is another way there. He's Anakin essentially. But this show can do whatever it wants. It doesn't. It's not so rigidly. It has to rigidly follow. When you're watching the prequels, you already know what happens with Anakin. There's no mystery there. I think it's one of the flaws of the prequels. Yeah, it was interesting to see how it was, came about, but still, we knew where it was going. Here, we don't necessarily know where it's going. He's going to be tempted. He's definitely being seduced by the dark side. It doesn't mean he's going to go full dark side. He's not going to go full wolf. Maybe he will. Maybe he's the big bad of the sequel series. But either way, the fact he's being seduced by the dark side is obviously influenced by Star Wars. But see, Star Wars didn't invent this. Like, this has been around forever. And I have the same question here I had with Anakin. The hell's the point? Like, for years I wondered, why would Anakin go with the Emperor when the Emperor basically got Padme killed? Like, going with the Emperor is what got Padme killed. Like, so once that happens, now it wasn't like the Emperor put a hit out on her, but once that happens, once she's dead, why would you stay with him, right? Is it because you need him, because you're injured? It didn't never made any sense to me. And you could ask the same question here. What is Sasuke actually mad about? And why go to Orochimaru? What is he going to find there that he's not finding with the people he's with? He feels disrespected. He feels lower on the totem pole. So you're going to go to a disrespectful asshole who's you're going to be subservient to, so you're lower on the totem pole than him? You're trading the same thing for the same thing? You're going to go be a lick spittle? A minion? Why would you do this, right? Like, that makes no sense. Like, you're just going to go be Orochimaru's bitch instead of being Naruto's bitch. Like, it's the same thing, man. It's like the meme. It's like they show you two pictures. It's the same picture. Like, what you're leaving and what you're going to is the same thing. You're going to be Orochimaru's bitch. You're going to be his lick spittle. His running dog. So why would you do that? That makes no sense, right? It makes no sense for Anakin to be the Emperor's bitch. Like, what are you doing? What I didn't factor in all these years, and this applies here. Like, I've been thinking about Sasuke for years, but I've definitely been thinking about Anakin for years. The same lesson applies in both cases. You can't apply logic to emotion. There is no logic to be found. It's emotion. And even though Anakin was older than Sasuke is here, I just think the same thing applies here. It's emotion. He's 12, 13, 14, whatever he is. And he's angry. He's angry. He feels put upon. He has this rage. He doesn't know where it comes from. He doesn't know what to do with it. And so he externalizes it. And here's the thing. Even under normal circumstances, which why I think is probably a lot of people can relate to Sasuke, just like a lot of people can relate to Naruto, the same people can probably relate to both characters because it's two different aspects of the same problem here. When you're 13, 14, 15, 12, whatever, life sucks. This is a sorry ass world we live in. Under any normal circumstances, like and it just gets worse all the time. Like imagine being 12-year-olds, 13, 14 now. Imagine being 13 during the pandemic, right? Holy shit. This is a sorry ass world we live in, with a lot of sorry ass people and a lot of sorry ass systemic issues. There's no end in sight to the sorriness. Like we got climate change is coming down from the mountain, and it's gonna wipe out a bunch of people, and it's gonna things are going to shit. So this is what 12, 13-year-olds are facing. Maybe they're not thinking about climate change, but they're just thinking about they look around, they look at this. This sucks ass. There are 1,000,001 reasons to be angry when you're 12, 13, 14. Like your body's changing. You're getting hair in weird places. You're feeling all these emotions. And you feel like, everybody wants you to do things you don't want to do. And you're not getting enough sleep. You need 9 hours of sleep, and you're never getting 9 hours of sleep. You're probably getting 6 or 7. There's so many things going on. You're changing. You don't feel like you fit in with anybody. You don't know who you're with and who you're not with. And, even under normal circumstances, there are 1,000,000 reasons to be angry. Even if you have great parents, there's a bunch of reasons to be angry. And who has great parents? And even if the parents, they mean well, but they're working 2 jobs. They just don't have time to give you what you need. So then you got to take on extra responsibility around the house because they're working 2 jobs. Mom had 3 jobs, right? So believe me, I can relate. Life sucks. The world sucks. There doesn't seem to be hope. You don't know what the hell you want to do. You're just mad. You're mad at everything. Perfectly understandable. So the other thing about this, by the way, is like you feel powerless. Everybody's telling you what to do. You have no power over anybody unless maybe you have younger brothers you're babysitting, so you have a little bit of power over them, and you will wield that power. You're going to feel good wielding that power for the 3 hours the parents are gone, and the younger brothers are going to hate your guts because you do that, but that's the only power you have, right? So you wield it. And you feel better for a couple hours. Maybe you sleep good that night. But for the most part, your life sucks. You're angry. And there's nowhere to channel the rage. So, under these circumstances, feeling powerless, there's one emotion we have that makes us feel more powerful than we actually are. It's not fear. It's not happiness, although it should be. The one emotion we feel that we can actually feel powerful is anger, rage, right? When we're angry, we feel powerful. We're not scared. We're not insignificant. We're not insecure. You're not insecure when you're mad. You never seen somebody in Waffle House turning the table over, looking insecure, like, I wonder how this makes you look in front of the cameras. You know why? Because you're not insecure when you're mad. You're powerful when you're mad. So why not just be mad all the time? And you know who else seems powerful, even though they're not? They seem powerful, is evil people, Bad guys. They're powerful. They're not insecure. You're going to walk into a bank and you're going to shoot the place up and you're going to steal money. You can't be insecure. It's like, oh, I wonder if this shirt makes me look fat. I don't know. Anyway, give me your money. I mean, nobody's like that, man. Like, bad guys are not insecure. They're not angry. Well, they are angry, but, they're not powerless. They're exerting power over their limited situation until they get shot to death in a bank parking lot. And then they have no power left because they're not alive anymore. But until then, they're powerful. And so to a 12, 13, 14-year-old, evil seems more powerful than good. Because you know what good is? Good is turning the other cheek. Good is finding a way to talk yourself into a solution. Good is compromise. Good is, okay, you can have half our crops if you don't burn down our village. That doesn't feel very powerful. When you're 12, 13, 14 and you feel powerless and you feel put upon and you're already mad about everything, even when it's a perfect situation. Even when everything's perfect, you're mad. Good seems kind of weak. Good doesn't really do anything for you. Evil does. Darth Vader is a hell of a lot more attractive to an angry 12-year-old than Luke Skywalker. Even though Luke Skywalker's cool, Luke Skywalker gets a girl-ish, at least for the first 2 movies. George, you dirty dog. But it just doesn't hit you in that spot when you're at your lowest. When you're at your lowest, Luke believes in love and hope and redemption. He's a good guy. and he's gonna let Mister Steal Your Girl come in and get the princess, and he's just gonna be friends with both of them. This was if they it wasn't his sister, you Targaryen bastard. But at the end of this, when did we find out? I guess we found out in the third movie, right? So at the end of the second movie, it still looked like it was up for grabs. Like either one of them could end up with Princess Leia, right? And Luke would just turn the other cheek and be friends with both of them if that happened. Lucas took the bitch way out by making them related. So that's how we solved that love triangle. But Luke would turn the other cheek. Whereas an angry 12-year-old, if his friends stole his girl, he's going to be mad about it. He's not going to be friends with those people. It feels weak. And you're already weak when you're 12, 13, 14. You don't want to continue to feel weak. So Vader looks a hell of a lot cooler. He's holding people up like this, even though it's physically impossible to hold somebody up by the throat with one hand. I don't care how strong you are. Physics, I didn't invent physics. That's what it is. You can't do that. Maybe he had the force up in him. We can roll with that. But you're lifting people up and it looks good, right? It looks cool. And you're choking people out from you're in another spaceship and you're choking people out from 5 million light years away and stuff. And you got the raspy voice, you got the cool ass cape, and you got your little laser sword. Everybody's scared of you. When you walk off the deck of your ship and you haven't killed somebody, everybody's like, "Oh, thank God." You need to question your life choices if you leaving a room without killing somebody is something that's noteworthy. I have left 3 or 4 rooms today and haven't killed anybody, and nobody's like putting that on their calendar, right? Life choices, dude. Like, examine it. See a therapist too. That looks more attractive. That's where you go. Who was the biggest Darth Vader fan when he was 12 years old? This guy. I was weak. I was powerless. I was definitely full of rage. Very, very angry. Dark side didn't have to come tempt me. It did not have to seduce me. I was there. I had a whole house set up in the dark side. Picked out the curtains, got the drapes. Everything's been delivered. I'm camped out, man. You couldn't pry me off the dark side with a crowbar, man. That's where I was, because that's what looked cool. That's what looked powerful. That's what looked strong. That's where you go. That's what you do. That's why a show geared for 12-year-olds is going to have one of the main characters at least flirt with the dark side. Probably go full dark side, but maybe not. That's why you do that, because that appeals to that demographic. We're all mad. We're all powerless. What you don't realize when you're that age is that's all bullshit. Sasuke has no plan. I already mentioned this. What was his plan? Okay, so he kicks Naruto's ass. Congratulations. You kicked his ass. Now what? There was no now what. He had no plan. The only thing he wanted to do, he's angry. It's about feelings. This is what I was saying before. It's about his feelings. He's making decisions based on feelings. Once I grew up, once I stopped being a 12-year-old, I realized you never make business or personal decisions for emotional reasons. I guess, getting married is you're making a personal decision for an emotional reason. But you know what I mean. You don't do that because emotions are illogical, stupid things. They make you do illogical, stupid things. I'm going to leave this situation that's relatively good. Not perfect, but relatively good. People care about you. It's not, you don't have transactional relationships like you're going to have over here on the dark side. It's relatively good. Maybe you feel like other people are getting more glory than you, and that makes you mad. But of course, like I said, everything makes you mad. Like I was saying before, in a perfect circumstance, even in perfect situations, a 12, 13-year-old is going to be angry regardless. But then what if actually he is infringed upon a little bit? What if people do violate his personal space and his rights and mistreat him a little bit, neglect him a little bit? Then he actually has a legitimate reason to be angry. Then it's 10 times worse. Never give an angry 12-year-old or 13-year-old a real reason to be angry, because then they will never let it go. Then their anger is multiplied by 10, right? And typically the world's not a perfect place, so that's going to happen. That's what happened here. People probably could have kissed Sasuke's ass a little bit better than they did. I mean, I feel like people generally, Sakura definitely, and now Sensei just not being around, just not being around, that's neglect. That's parental neglect. You can get your kids taken away for that shit. He's just not around, man. I know he was hurt or whatever, and he's been doing some other stuff, but a lot of this lands on him. be around, dumbass. And a filler arc don't count because it's filler. So like that's the thing. Like if he was with them that whole time, and they were hanging out and they were having shenanigans and stuff like that. Was he with them when they were on the mission, or was it just that one jokey episode? I actually can't remember now. But at least for that one jokey episode, or 101, he was with them. That's the problem, though. We're getting neglect. And that's probably a big issue here. Is Sensei's around every single day, and he's having conversations with you. Some of this shit can get out. You can, pull some of the lance. You can lance the boil. You can pull some of the poison from the boil, right? Like, he did have that opportunity. He sure as hell didn't want to talk to Sakura. We've already discussed that. The problem with making business and personal decisions for emotional reasons is it's not logical, like I said. So you're going to go from this situation where you're kind of the bottom of the triad, the relationship. At least you're below Naruto, and you don't like that because you have a rivalry, and so you don't like that. So you're going to go and be Orochimaru's bitch, like I said. It makes no effing sense, but it's understandable. Let's see how that contradicts each other. It makes no sense, but it's understandable. I understand it because I've been the angry 12-year-old, the powerless angry 12-year-old, making emotional decisions, right? That's why I don't make business decisions and personal decisions for emotional reasons anymore. I haven't for years. Because I'm not a moron, He is. Understandably so. So that's the answer here. That's what's going on here. Sasuke is making this decision for emotional reasons. And, it's idiotic. And we can even have a microcosm of that. You have these 4 minions treat him like shit, beat him up, talk dirtball bad about him. He walks out of the village, and all of a sudden they're kneeling in front of him, and we serve you. Man, kiss my ass. No, man. No, fam. We don't do that, man. Like, it's just... He's holding all the wrong grudges. He's got a grudge against Naruto, who did nothing to him, essentially. Except be an idiot kid who's not perceptive and didn't nurture you in quite the right way. He could have been a better friend, but, Naruto's doing the best he can as well, right? So, you're going to nurse that grudge for somebody who barely did anything to you, but people who actually did something to you, you're like, okay, cool, let's hang out. Idiotic. That's just a microcosm of the whole thing. Orochimaru's done nothing but violate you physically, emotionally, intellectually, spiritually, if we want to talk about what happens in the afterlife, if you believe in that crap. So, like, going with him could actually sentence you to hell, So he's violated you in every way you can violate somebody, but you're going to go be his lick spittle. Here, boss, I got your coffee for you. Can I be your bitch, please? Like, come on, man. Like, that makes no goddamn sense. Unless you factor in the emotionality of it all. He's an emotional 12-year-old rage monster. So, we'll see how it works out for him. But it makes sense. Even though it makes no sense, it's understandable. So, that's just what I want to say. I feel like this is worthy of its own video simply because this feels like a very pivotal moment. Now, it's going to be a lot of egg on my face if, in this next episode I'm about to watch, nothing comes of this, and he comes back, okay, I killed those 4, I was just trying to trick him, get him into the woods, and take him out. I doubt it, because it feels like this is what they've been setting up. Because, like I said, this answers the question I've had for a long time now. What the hell? Why is so much attention and focus on Sasuke when he's not the main character? This answers that question. And so that's why this feels like this is a very pivotal moment. All right, well, go ahead and wrap this up. This is just how I feel about all that. And now we can get into the next episode.